played a killer show, and we got compensated with these 3 fun-sized Butterfingers. Not only was it 3, but it was the 6 get 2 free and 5 were eaten.
In 2018, I was staying in California. At the time, the only thing that was on my mind was surfing. One day I was out and met someone who had become a great friend of mine. His name was Xavier. Xavier, or X, and I became friends instantly, talking about life on the road, surfing, and what would become most important, music. After hanging out with X for a while, I told him my cousin had a great voice, and if he ever wanted to jam, he was totally welcome to. Fast forward 3 months later, and my cousin and I are on the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. I tell him about my travels in California and this guy named X, who at this point just seemed like a figment of my imagination. My cousin and I discussed how we always wanted to be in a band together, and honestly laughed it off about how funny it would be if this ever happened. As the night was ending and my cousin and I were heading to our tents, he told me about his friend Ryan back in New Jersey. They went to Stockton together. He said Ryan was the best guitar player he had ever met. And when we got home, we all had to meet up and jam. A few months later, I head back to New Jersey, and my cousin texts me about playing some music. It just so happened that my new friend X moved to New Jersey after meeting a girl from Galloway, out in California, who I also happen to know. After jamming for a bit and talking about starting a band, Ryan told us he had a great conundrum. He was thinking of moving to San Francisco for grad school, but he also had a real calling to do music full time. It didn't take long, but by the end of the jam session, we were all convinced that we had to tackle this thing full steam ahead. After practicing for quite some time, 2 weeks later, we finally built up the courage to go to our first open mic. The thing is, we had all been in bands before, but this was the first time playing together, our sound. Overall, it went really well. And we kept going back and playing these open mics. We had a blast all summer playing open mics, house shows, basements, and backyards. But at the end of the day, I think we all wanted something more. So I set out and started emailing promoters all over the region. Within a few weeks, we had a local promoter reach back out to us, and by the end of the month, we booked our first real gig at a real venue. We couldn't have been more excited. After playing more and more shows in Atlantic City and Philly, we started mentioning tour to anyone who would listen to us. Finally, we got a break, and a headlining band asked us if we would play with them on a show of their tour. As soon as this happened, we were all so stoked. We went out and we bought a van immediately, and set out to book our own tour. We played in some really cool places, on top of casinos, and in college bars. We played in New York City, and we played packed bars in Boston. Honestly, it was such a great experience. By the time we got back to Philadelphia, we had an awesome show waiting for us, and we got to see all our friends and family. I'm happy I've gotten the chance to experience this, as it really showed me that there are a million ways to accomplish what you want.